report to the town clerk. These items are on file and available in the City of Legislative Services, City Hall, 165 Church Street, second floor, New Haven, Connecticut, 06510. For accessibility-related accommodations, please call 203-946-7651 voice or 203-946-8582 TTY TPD. Public comment/testimony may also be submitted via email to publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of. This meeting may be viewed on the Board of Alders YouTube page. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alder Jeanette Morrison, and I will have my colleagues introduce themselves, starting to my far right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Evelyn Rodriguez, Ward 4.
Elias Theodore, Ward 1.
Adam Marchand, Ward 25.
Richard Furlow, Ward 27, Chair.
Alder Morrison, Alder Morrison, Ward 22, not used to this seat, Ward 22, co-chair.
Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Amy Marks, Ward 26.
Thank you. So I will have the presenters come forward.
Are there extra chairs? I think we're all, yeah. Oh, this one, you mean my coffee?
Your coffee.
Is that? I'm not finished, it's getting too late. No, available.
I'm just going to hand it out.
Mine.
Excuse me, colleagues, there's a lot going on at this table. So let's focus our attention. Sir?
In lieu of putting anything on the screen, I printed these out. We're going to try to keep this brief for you guys because we understand it's been a late night. We appreciate you.
We're used to being here late, so don't worry about that. Okay, take our time and do it right.
This is your square, right?
The lights go on at 12 o'clock, just in case. We'll just need your name and address for the record when you're settled.
And that goes for each person, so, but only one time. Or business,
Or business.
home or business.
Josh, 265 Church Street, New Haven.
And you can, yeah, you can.
I'm Paul Santos. I'm with Newman Architects. I'm a principal. We're at 265 Church Street, 15th floor here in New Haven.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Miller, acting Executive Vice President for Helm City Communities, 458 Grand, New Haven.
Christopher Russo, partner of Pullman and Connolly with offices at 90 State House Square in Hartford, Connecticut.
Edwin Chance, Vice President of Development for the Glendower Group, Elm City Communities, 360 Orange Street.
Michael Pinto, Assistant Corporation Counsel, 507 Central Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut.
Good evening, Laura Brown, Director of the City Planning Department, 262 West Rock Avenue, Haven.
Thank you.
You got the floor.
Great. So again, good evening, all. There's, for the record, again, Chris Russo from Pullman and Connolly. Our firm represents the Housing Authority of the City of New Haven. We're here to discuss its petition to amend the text of the zoning ordinance and city zoning. With me tonight is representatives from the Housing Authority and Glendower, professionals from Newman Architects, individuals from the city. And before we begin, I would just like to remind the committee that this is a hearing for a petition to amend the zoning ordinance and the city zoning map. We will be coming before the City Plan Commission with a site plan application if successful on this front. All drawings, renderings that you will see throughout this presentation are conceptual in nature and are being shown to provide you with a sense of what the project will look like and the good it'll do for the city. Thank you. So in the interest of time, I had a slide here that kind of introduces the Housing Authority. I think everybody on this commission knows who the Housing Authority is and the good they do for the city. So we will skip this slide in the interest of time. So next, I think it's really important for us to discuss why we came before this committee this evening. So Elm City Communities, along with the City of New Haven, Glendower city residents, local organizations, businesses, and other key stakeholders completed the Union Square Choice Neighborhoods Transformation Plan. The plan builds upon decades of history, leveraging the neighborhood's rich cultural fabric while addressing longstanding challenges such as economic disparity, outdated housing, infrastructure, and limited access to essential services. Next slide. So the plan is a really comprehensive strategy aimed at revitalizing the Union Square community. Developed through extensive community engagement, the plan focused on 3 core goals, which were housing, people, and neighborhood. Specifically, the overall vision statement of the plan is to provide a strong, stable neighborhood where residents can learn, grow, and stay healthy with safe, easy connections to the city and region, and a strong community that residents can afford to stay in for years to come. So this next slide, I thought it was important to kind of show you where the properties are. If you look down on the left-hand side there, that's kind of the swath of what this is all about. So just to give a little bit of details on the project itself that we're looking to accomplish after if we're lucky to get approval of our amendments. The goal is to transform the Robert T. Wolf Apartments, the former Church Street South housing development and surrounding Union Square community into a high-quality mixed income housing that is affordable and safe. The goal is to provide up to 2,490 new residential units, including townhouse-style homes, apartments, and ADA compliant units. Very importantly, give the opportunity for Robert T. Wolf residents and former Church Street South residents the right to return to the Union Square area as the buildings are phased online. And then lastly, promote local commerce by attracting businesses that cater to the community's needs, such as grocery stores, restaurants, healthcare services, recreational spaces, community spaces. And the goal is to include approximately 40 to 50,000 square feet of retail and commercial space as part of the project. So this next slide here is kind of just talking briefly about what the PDD 15 is, which is the current zone and the current allowable uses. So really the PDD 15 zone was established in the 1960s and it has long been outdated. It currently permits a defined set of residential, commercial, institutional, and accessory uses. Specifically, residential on the properties that we're talking about today was intended to be primarily low-rise family housing, while commercial uses were restricted to a small square footage in specific locations. And I'll go a little bit into the difference in uses between PDD 15 and TOC a little bit later. So first we're going to quickly just discuss the proposed zoning map amendment. So to address the constraints presented by the PDD 15 zone, the proposed zoning map amendment contemplates transferring the properties from PDD 15 to the transit-oriented community zone, which I will refer to as the TOC. And transferring the properties to the TOC zone allows the flexibility required for the project to succeed and accomplish the goals of the plan. And the transfer to the TOC zone also allows uniformity with Union Square, which is also in the TOC, which is an integral part of the project. So briefly on the proposed text amendments, I'm sure we'll have some questions on those, but so in close collaboration with the city plan department and other city officials, the Housing Authority identified a small number of text amendments required to successfully complete this project, and they're all tied to residential. So the proposed text amendments to section 42, table 3, use table will allow the flexibility to incorporate the best unit mix for the project to succeed. What would happen is it would be allowing as of right construction of dwelling units in multifamily buildings above the first story, which is currently a special permit. And then the second is allowing as of right construction of townhouse style homes along certain areas of Church Street South, South Orange Street, and the proposed to be constructed Portsea Street, which runs through the inner core of the project. And as you look at the actual amendments, what's going on there is it's certain areas. It's not, the TOC would remain special permit other than these certain areas for the townhomes. And then just to touch on very quickly the differences of the uses for the PDD 15 and the TOC. Again, the uses were very limited in the PDD 15. They started off in the 1960s. They were called neighborhood convenience commercial, which was 7,500 square feet of retail space, 2,000 square feet of professional space, because the PDD was all tied to a certain site plan that was produced and approved at the time. And obviously, with the size and scope of this project, we need much more than that. So in reviewing, when we looked at the PDD and then we looked at the TOC allows a much more favorable use mix, which includes, and these are not all the uses that are allowed, assisted living, daycare, banks, bakeries, pharmacies, convenience stores, grocery stores, barber and beauty shops, dry cleaners, health clubs and gyms, restaurants. And that's just to kind of give you a flavor of what the TOC offers. And this use mix is really important as the project continues to take shape through its various phases. And it allows the Housing Authority to kind of introduce uses that meet the evolving needs of the community as everything comes online. So the next two slides were regarding the plan of conservation and development. And again, given trying to slim this down a little bit, I would be happy to answer any questions. But so the POCD was discussed at the January 27th special meeting of the City Plan Commission, and the commission did find the application in compliance with the POCD as per the advisory report, which I believe was part of your packet that you received. So, and then a couple other quick points is the application will significantly advance the city's recently passed Downtown for All initiative by bringing a substantial number of new and, more importantly, affordable housing options to the inner core of the Downtown for All overlay district. And I think it's also important to point out that the City Plan Commission provided unanimous support for the amendments at its January 27th special meeting. So I think with that, we thank you for your time and consideration, and we'd like to turn it over to Mr. Jimmy Miller to just say a couple words.
Good afternoon. We have been involved in the planning process for the prior 2 years, and we had significant community support. And the outcome of that planning process was the development of a Union Square transformation plan. And that plan calls for eventually the development of 2,049 units of housing. We should note that 50% of those units will be affordable, and the other 50% will be market rate. A significant number of the affordable units will be deeply affordable, from 0 to 30, 30 to 50. And we have received approval of HUD for that plan. And our goal is to submit the application by March 9th. And this approval process is an important part of our ability to get a successful application in by March 9th.
If I may add, that the application Mr. Miller is referring to is a CNI implementation grant for 26 million. And though that seems like a real lot, in a way that's seed money, because what are you estimating, 1.5?
Our project should be about $1.3 billion.
Anything else?
We're here for your questions.
Yes.
So, since you guys have finished your presentation, any of our alders have any questions? And we can take the cue. No questions? So as people are starting to get themselves together, I'll ask a question. In regards to, you said that, thank you, you said that this application has to be in approximately March 10th.
March 9th.
March 9th. And so if all approvals are provided and this whole project, which sounds great, is approved, when is this expected to be done, available?
Let me give you my best guesstimate. The application, I'm going to guess we should get approval from HUD. I'm going to say fall. We have to begin the supportive services component of that plan within 90 days of approval. And we have to begin construction of phase 1 within 18 months of approval. So we are geared up to do that. Once we complete this planning process, moving to the design development process. And once we do that, we'll move to the application process. We anticipate submitting the application for capital funding in January. So again, 18 months for the first phase. The first phase is 541 units. 271 of those units will be affordable. And 270, if my math serves me right, will be market rate.
And it's what's represented in blue on that chart. So we thought it was important to start the facing Union Station as the first phase. So it becomes the face of the city as you come out of Union Station. But we're also been working with the city closely to make sure that that sort of walkway will be part of the beginning phase as well. So we want to bring people towards the hill and then downtown.
And can I say one more thing? I just forgot to say that the Housing Authority, DBA, City Community is the applicant, but the city of New Haven is the co-applicant. And the reason for that is that one of the threshold requirements is that all the land that's part of the process must be owned by applicants and co-applicants. So the city is a vital part. The Housing Authority is the applicant. Glendower will be the housing implementation entity, responsible for overseeing all the housing. The city will be the neighborhood implementation entity, responsible for overseeing all the neighborhood activities. And we do not want to admit that the Community Action Agency of New Haven will be responsible for all the people activities. And we have Amos Smith here tonight, so I don't want to be missed. Okay, so that is the team, that is the development team, and we've been working very hard since about October to get this application ready for March 9th.
So basically this project, or some of the project should be done by, this is 2028. Somebody can move in.
For my next third retirement, yes.
Your third retirement.
That's my second one here.
I know,
Yes.
I know. So approximately 2028.
Yes.
One of my, I have a statement question, right? I have a big thing about when these projects happen and we have affordable and we have market rate. In my mind, sometimes I feel like developers might want to put all the affordable people on the left and all the market people on the right. And that's not the purpose of this. To me, the purpose of any of these projects that happen in the city is to mix everyone together, because we learned many years ago, projects don't work. And when you put all poor people together, all rich people together. So, the question was, and I see everyone shaking their head, so I'm trying to answer it. This is truly gonna be a mixed group, so you wouldn't know who was paying affordable or who was paying market.
If you look at BMT Row and other developments, the market units are indistinguishable from the other units. All the units are fully integrated. People go side by side. That's been a long-standing policy of ours. When we say fully integrated, we mean fully integrated.
And then I'm gonna ask one more question, and hopefully some of my colleagues are ready to ask a question. Have you guys started to think about the commercial entities that you're, thinking about coming to this, to these grounds? As far as you talked about grocery stores, you talked about, those type of things. Have you started to think about that, or is that's just the shell? That you want grocery stores, you want all these various amenities. So.
We've had one market study commission, and we have developed another one today. And what we're looking at is one knows the Hill/Union Square is a food desert. And we're looking at a market on the Church Street south facing side of the development. And we're looking on the Union Square side, we're looking at those types of smaller establishments that would keep eyes on the street. We know that it's critical that we have a very active first floor. So everything we're going to be doing is going to be geared toward making sure we activate the first floor for a lot of reasons. But so those are what we're looking at. And we do have a market study, and we do have some ideas of what types of activities are best for the long-term sustainability of the development.
Okay, and there will be opportunities for local eateries, local, amenities to be a part of your whole commercial component. Because sometimes they bring other people, but we have some really good food and really good stuff here in the Haven. So to promote that.
We're going to be doing that. Not only are we doing that, we're working with CDCs as well, and then talking about bringing in what they call micro kitchens, where residents will not only learn to do healthy diets, but also learn how to prepare the meals and start small business as well. So we are looking at micro businesses. We understand how important it is to do all development of the economy and to make sure that we have assets that are preserved in the neighborhood. I mean, you can have income, but for a community to be really stable, you need assets.
Thank you.
If I may add. Once again, Michael Pinto, Assistant Corporation Counsel. Obviously, the city has a vested interest, and we own portions of the property. So this really will be a partnership between Housing Authority, Glendower, and the city as we go through. Obviously, this is the zoning just to get the envelope of what can be built. Eventually, there will be, as we get closer to the financing, and there will be all the development and land disposition agreement that we'll be bringing to you at some point, which will fully lay out what at least the first phase of the project and what pieces of land are being turned over. And obviously, it's Michael Piscatelli is here in the audience, but I've historically done the legal work related to the train station, so I have a particularly, we will be making sure that particularly, like, as we look at what we're talking about is this phase one that faces directly onto Union Avenue, that will be, and you'll see that the changes that have been proposed in the zoning allow first floor residential, but only on the opposite sides, like the Church Street South and Columbus Avenue side, which will be primarily residential. And and face obviously across into Hill and residential streets, whereas we want to maintain the integrity of those vibrant commercial spaces along Union Avenue. So that's particularly one of the changes we were looking at. And I wouldn't say it was a bone of contention, but it was an insistence as we were going through the negotiation process of what the city expected to see, that was included.
If I may follow up on that. So with this Choice Neighborhood funding, both the planning grant and the one we're going for now, Robert T. Wolf was our way in, right? Because we have to have a federal, but the Hill was always critically important to us. You know, what we wanted to do, what me and Mr. Miller really wanted to do was figure out a way to integrate the Hill into downtown and into this neighborhood. So I did notice some eyebrows go up off the first floor at the front. Not just, we didn't want first floor facing Union Station, but we thought that would be a really nice way to tie this development into the Hill. So it would be townhouses, they're not big block of buildings, but inviting townhouses facing the Hill, similar to what's there now. So that was always a kind of integral part of what we wanted to do. So that's why we limited it to just certain areas as well.
Thank you.
No, that him.
No,
Okay. So, so thank you for, your answers. And so, Alder Rodriguez?
Yes, I have a few questions. Thank you. In reference to the project details, the page, you indicate provide current Robert T. Wolf residents and former Church Street South residents the right to return. So are you indicating that individuals who lived in the Church Street South apartments would be able to return to one of these new units?
The answer to that is yes.
Thank you. And in reference to the community, engagement in the community piece, we have our Union Station. There's a lot of small businesses in that building. Do you have a partnership or have you established a relationship in terms of community? Will you be having, once the zoning is changed, the opportunity for gym or pools? And would those be accessible? And any of your other amenities be accessible to the community with it that's surrounding the project? Thank you.
I think the answer to that is that this is the Union Square, AKA Hill. Robert T. Wolf is just what we call a target development, SP Public Housing. But this development is geared for the entire Hill. So there'll be a tremendous amount of, as you can see, a public square. There'll be a public square. There's about 30,000 square feet thereabouts of community space. All that community space will be accessible to the broader community and to the city of New Haven as well.
So you have over 2,400 units building?
2,490, yes.
And so are there going to be recreational play spaces where people will be able to connect, and will the wider community be able to engage in some way? Thank you.
Paul Santos from Newman Architects. Each building itself will have individual, a set of amenities, largely geared for the residents within that building. Things like the gym, meeting spaces, co-working spaces, all of those types of, the normative amenity spaces that come along with these mixed market developments will be available to the residents only within the building. As Jimmy mentioned, there are a variety of community spaces on the ground floor that will be accessible to the residents at large.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Right. Thank you. Alder Marshall?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I'm going to go back to the zoning and just ask, when you were thinking about what regulatory changes you might need to request to create the groundwork for the kind of project you want to develop in the future. Did you think about other possibilities? For example, just amending the PDD that's already there, or one of the BD zones. What did you look at, and why did you end up with, let's go with the TOC, but tweak it a bit?
So we originally started, we did an analysis of the PDD 15 zone, and to unwind and redo what we needed to do for a project of this size and scope, it would have taken, because you have to do it in pieces, right? Because it's all kind of based on a site plan that's approved for the PDD, and it would have taken a tremendous amount of coming back and doing more and more and more as things come online, because as we've all said, these are conceptual drawings, and who knows, phase 4 may not look the way it looks now, and it would be a lot. And so we did look at the TOC, the BD3, and really because of, and I think that picture says a lot, is this development is really being cohesive with Union Station, and that zone afforded us a lot of what we needed, and we kind of looked at it with, we won't have to come back. It's going to satisfy HUD. There's not a ton. It's a lot of it's by right. The heavy hitter stuff is special permit. So we would come back if we needed to do that. And the design specs, and if anybody from the design team wants to talk about that, they really fit this project very well. It's almost like the TOC was set up to do something like this.
I see Laura smiling. She knows it was.
Yeah, Laura Brown, Director of the Planning Department. I just wanted to mention too that this, I mean, it was actually designed for this purpose. And as you know, the TOC has only been utilized on one parcel so far, which is Union Station. And as a strategy, as a zoning strategy, we are trying to get away from project-based zoning, which is what a PDD essentially is, into more cohesive strategic zones that really accomplish the vision that the city has defined through the Vision 2034 comprehensive plan. And even prior to Vision 2034, this area, like as early as the 1910 plan, was envisioned as aligned with Union Station and the sort of the welcoming door to the city. So I think the TOC is better aligned than the BD3 in that respect, and that's one thing that we looked at as we compared the zones. I also just want to mention that I feel like this is a generational project. This is probably going to be something we won't have an opportunity to do ever again. Something of this nature and size, and so I just want to appreciate your time and thoughtfulness in considering this.
Thank you. My next question is the first floor residential. And of course, our packet contains the actual text. It contains the city plan report, and it lists this street between this and that street between this and this, third street between Z and Q. And I have to admit that without sitting and looking at a map at the same time, it was a little bit hard for me to picture that. And so I'm wondering if you could help us by pointing to some image like the ones perhaps behind you and show us exactly where you're talking about.
We are talking about Church Street South.
Why don't you bring it up
Not a problem.
to the table, if you wouldn't mind?
If you bring up the site plan, I think it's a little clearer.
Yeah.
Exactly where it's.
Yeah, if you
Let's bring up both, and we're grateful.
So it's, all right.
Orient us first to where we are.
Special permit would be retained for any first floor residential along Union Ave and anything that along here, but it's Church Street South. This is where the idea of these maisonette or townhouse approach would be. And then it's, the interior, this doesn't, you don't get a full sense, along Columbus Avenue.
Maybe it's, so
Columbus Avenue, here we go. Along Columbus
the
Avenue.
way it reads is that Well, I'm trying to remember how it reads.
There's interior, okay. It would be along Church Street South,
Mhm.
along Columbus Avenue, and then these interior lots.
Where you would not need a special permit for a first floor
Right,
residence.
because these are, these are gonna be primarily areas that are
Interior.
interior and already primarily residential. The idea here is obviously across Church Street South here, it's primarily residential. The first floor special permit is required where where the idea is to keep it where it's facing already commercial development, that would be maintained because you're trying to maintain.
Although if someone asked for a special permit and the commission granted it, then you could do it, but you still have to go through that process, the public hearing, meet the criteria, et cetera. Yes.
In this case, there's a DLDA that's going to be coming and not going to happen.
Okay.
They will not be asking for
They
special.
will not be asking, but we'll still keep it in the proposal. So,
The intention really is to activate all sides of the buildings, right? So along Union Avenue, we want to activate Union Avenue with a combination of retail and community uses and frame Union Square. The idea of trying to expand residential and tie the ground floor of Church Street South to the hill was important to activate the street frontage there with townhouse apartments. In addition, there's also some townhouse apartments proposed along Columbus Avenue, and as well as you can see the light blue in lot 6 and in lot 5. So the idea is just to really activate all sides of the space of the buildings that are not commercial.
And then just to touch on this, these townhomes would be 4 or 5 bedrooms, and the main goal of these larger units is to be able to let families stay together, because there's not a lot of these concepts out there, and it would be a nice way to give a townhome style to an entire family that wanted to live there.
thank you for that additional explanation, and thank you for going through that with the map. It helps me. So I just want to make a statement and see if I'm making it correctly. There's a map change here. That's pretty straightforward. Then there are 2, I think, text changes. One is to create the possibility of first floor residential, with the exception of the places where you said, because the prior TOC already exists. So in addition to extending it across the street, you're looking to change it, right, in a couple of ways. This is a fairly newly enacted zone. We had a lot of discussion about residential use and whether or not there should be a special permit involved in residential use. And now you're proposing to take that away. And it makes me wonder, when I had that discussion at city plan about residences right next to an active rail yard and we needed to have a special permit, you're proposing to take that away. So I need to be reassured, because I made a big point of that. I didn't remember that in our city plan meeting this last week, but I remember it now. You're actually taking away one thing that I was instrumental in getting us to put in. So convince me why we should do that. Because it's not just going to affect this property, it's going to affect the residential development hoped for next to the train station parking lot.
No, it actually won't impact that.
Why wouldn't it?
Because the text here explicitly prohibits ground floor residential.
No, I'm talking about any floor
Above,
residential.
yeah, above the first.
Any floor residential. Like right now, the TOC says you need a special permit to have residential use, which you're taking out. And for me, I'm cool with that across the street, but when you're right next to an active rail yard, I wanted to have some protection to make sure we're kicking the tires on all the things you need to have when you're building so close to so much noise and fumes and vibrations. So I'm not happy.
Yes, as I recall, part of that discussion, well, Laura Brown, Director of the City Planning Department, I recall this discussion at City Planning Commission. And I think at that time, and perhaps Paul can comment on this further, we all know that in many larger cities, people live quite close to rail lines and all sorts of various forms of transportation. in many cities across the world, it is very possible to construct buildings in a way that reduces sound penetration, shaking, any of the possible adverse effects of being close to the rail line. So that is one thing, and I think, maybe architects, Paul, if you could comment on, how the design of the building could contribute to that?
May I say one more thing before we pass it over to Paul? We had a very lively discussion about just this issue. And I think we came down to, we thought it was more, that part of our concern and why we thought about this for a long time. Like I said, we had a very lively internal discussion as it was being proposed by the housing authority. The part of it is we decided, like, the intent of a special permit is to limit the potential negative externalities emanating from a development, rather than that is an appropriate regulatory approach. Whereas we thought, particularly given the rail line issues, that is more a market issue, and we'll let Paul discuss it because they are intimately aware of what's going on in the planning for how do you build next to a rail line and still make it marketable, because it ends up being a market problem rather than a regulatory problem.
It is a design problem. It's a challenging one, but it is one that is required not so much from a planning and zoning standpoint or a building code standpoint, but it actually is a significant requirement of funding sources, specifically HUD and even private equity funds, that the decibel level within an apartment does not exceed 40 decibels. So what does that mean? A significant amount of acoustical study needs to be done on site to ensure that, one, the exterior envelope is designed to be able to attenuate and absorb some of that sound. And this is where modern technology comes into play. Things like higher performing windows, triple glazed glass, in some cases even laminated glass, to be able to attenuate and absorb the sound and maintain levels inside the unit below 40 decibels. And if you don't, 40 decibels it's fairly quiet. It doesn't sound like it is, but it is.
Okay, well, I'll just say one quick thing and then I'll be done, which is, when this first came up, I asked the presenters to tell me more about the building code and what other regulatory regimens were in place that would ensure proper construction of a building next to a rail yard. And I was given, poof, it happens all the time. It'll be fun, which when I asked for it, I actually wanted like actual information. So if we don't need a special permit because there's other things in place that will protect people from these problems, then show me what it is. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe it. I'm sure it's there, but somebody's got to show it to me. So that's one thing. The other thing I'll just quickly say is I don't necessarily agree with you, Attorney Pinto. Like, we've had special permit discussions about outside impacts on a development or a site. When we were talking about the mixed-use Long Wharf zoning, right, we talked about special permits, and part of that was to make sure that all the flood zone issues would be properly vetted and understood and presented. And that is water coming in from the outside. So for me, I'm not super excited about removing from this zone something that I really wanted to put in to protect people living that close to the rail yard. I could be persuaded not to do it, but I need to see the chapter and verse of whatever regulatory regimen you're talking about that's going to take care of that. So thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Just to be clear, Alder, are you asking for anything through the?
Yes, I am asking through the chair and vice chair for the city staff or the applicant to provide further information on the points I just raised. Thank you.
Mr. Hayden, do you have that?
hasn't, okay, great. Okay, I did have, okay, so, oh, okay, Alderman Marks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to follow up on Alderman Marchand's question, I just want to make sure that I'm fully understanding the text of what we're talking about. Am I understanding correctly, Director Brown, that what we're talking about is on page 14 of the packet?
Could you pull that mic closer? Mr. Hayden needs to be able to hear you as he's taking notes.
Okay, thank you. Majority Leader. I'm just trying to lock down and understand exactly what it is that Director Marchand is asking about. So I just want to ask of Director Brown, we're talking about changing the table, to change the rule. Are we talking about on page, I think, 14? I think yours looks different. Yeah. Annotation. Are we just talking about the language in paragraph 9? Is that what we're talking about?
That is one of the changes.
Wait,
The
can
others,
you
yes.
please, my question is, can you please indicate in the packet the exact changes, please?
yes, so on Exhibit B, page 12, you'll see the change in, under TOC. This is a little confusing because this is an excerpt from the use table from the zoning ordinance. So under TOC, you'll see the change from special permit, which is SP, to R, which is as of right. That is one change. On the next page, page 13, so just for reference, the description of that use is on the left, and that is for dwelling units and multifamily dwellings located above first stories. That's your first change. The second change is in this next use, which is on page 13. And that again is changing.
Director Brown, could you just swing that microphone over?
Oh, sorry.
This one. Can I have my
Yeah, give him.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have a packet. Is there an extra packet? Because I printed mine.
Can I share with?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so again, in Exhibit B, page 13, you'll see dwelling units and multifamily dwellings located on first stories only, and so forth. And then you don't see the labels of the columns on this page, but under TOC, you'll see the X is crossed out and it says SP footnote 9. So that's changed from not allowed to special permit. See footnote 9. Footnote 9 is that first note that you referenced where it specifies the exact location where the first floor dwelling units would be permitted.
Thank you,
That's it.
Director Brown, for
Yes.
talking through that, and thank you,
Yes.
Madam Chair, for allowing that clarification.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Any other questions?
I have one. It's probably for attorney or director. This is TOC. This is just a simple question. Are we calling this a zone or a district? TOC, is it zone or district? What's the proper language?
It's a zone.
Zone. Okay, I wish we could change these to districts. It just sounds so much, just better sounding than calling them zones.
Do you mean throughout the zoning ordinance?
Yeah,
They'd be
like,
districts?
doesn't it sound nice? TOC zone, I mean, a district, transit-oriented community district. But anyway, that's not where we are tonight. But I just, we have to amend the title and do some things and, okay. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. That's all I have.
Okay. So no other questions from the alders? Okay, so we're gonna ask you guys to sit in the gallery and I will ask for public comment. So anyone from the public willing to testify? Anyone from the public willing to testify? And for a third time, anyone from the public willing to testify? I asked.
You want me to make a motion? Okay, all right. Madam Vice Chair, I move that we close the public portion of this meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and second to close the public portion of the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, the ayes have it. Oh, Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. So we don't have the amended package for this. What is in this, what is in this legislation committee packet was for the first reading. The whereas. Oh. Yeah, no, it can't be the original because this is.
This is stuff, no, the Elm City law, whereas it's stuff in the.
Yeah, but why don't we,
Okay.
there's a lot going on and I don't like all the talking. It's just, we need one person talking at a time because it gets confusing. So why don't we take a recess for 5 minutes and get the right information in front of us because we need to make an amendment by substitution. But if we don't have that information, it's going to make it difficult for us to vote. Okay, so we need to have the right information before us.
so we'll take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
Okay. Amendment, okay.
You can go wherever you want, we just need to.
Says substitution.
Mr. Lucas,
Yes, ma'am.
just confirmed the majority there. Are we on the same page with everything?
I have no idea, because I have no idea what he's talking about.
What he's talking about is that in the middle of the packet for the Church Street South
Mhm.
development is language for the Elm City laws.
Yep.
So we don't have the ordinance amendment language.
Okay, let me see if she sent it. Yep. Substitution. Let me see. Okay, you did. Yeah, this went out to everybody. Okay, so this one, so we're saying, but it has
No,
HNA.
no, this is fine. That looks fine.
This,
This looks fine now. It's the original one, didn't even have this. The other one, the whole darn thing was about Elm City
but
law.
this has, yeah,
No,
this is Glendale.
this is perfect.
How is it perfect for what we're looking at? This says,
Yeah, this is what we're looking at. This is the Union Square choice. You know what happened? It's here. It's just there's two things in it.
right, because it says Glendower and Elm City.
Yeah, that's all good for what we're
Okay.
doing right now. The
Okay.
issue is that the document prior to it. Can I see prior to this?
This is all I have.
Oh, we did get, her packet happens to have GART. These 2 pages shouldn't be here, and then it is there
So the
afterwards.
it's the package. So this is the amendments. All right, let me print this up. This is correct.
Which I think is what we have in the packet.
This is what you sent Monday.
This is right.
This is right. So this is what we need. So it should be, all right, here's the,
Zoning ordinance text. No, she was supposed to send us an amendment to this.
the
because
amended
she-
red line order that the petitioner is requesting to be amended by substitution is attached separately. That's supposed to be this one. 2 attachments.
This is the
This is-
original one.
This is,
This is what they sent.
that is, let me see. Because,
I'm holding the packet right here.
yeah, this is the package. I'm looking at it. Well, okay, you go.
Page 9. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay, so here's 9. So this is the one that was the original.
Yep,
That's
the original. Yep.
in the package. This
Mhm.
one that was attached separately.
Yep.
It's supposed to be
What we're supposed to amend by substitution.
amend by substitution. So when I
Let's see what
click on
looks
that.
like.
It does look different. And we don't have a copy of that.
Yeah, we'll print this out. So this has the red lines.
Okay,
So let me print this.
so all we need to do is,
It's only two
I just need to
pages?
change the title because the title is jacked up. Okay.
Yep.
That's why I didn't say.
All right,
Yep,
and the red
that's what
lines.
we
So this were amend by substitution
Yep.
for the one we got on Monday. Yep.
Perfect.
You got it. You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Are you okay with it? What was that?
I had an injection.
Okay.
It hurts, but two needles in your eye, not fun.
For what?
Reduce spasms.
I'm so sorry. You got it? This is gonna be, this is better than nothing.
Sorry, but we're not.
Better than what's there now.
Little bit of humor in space.
But here's the issue, if they have a hospital. Oh, there is? If they have, but if I know I live. If they have a one. Fine, fine. Okay, if they have one. Fine. Well, but you know, but it's not historic, it's not historic. They're during demolition, which are a lot of
Did
people.
they say that?
Yeah, that's definitely the right return.
Did they say that?
Right return is just the people who are demolition. It's not historic.
Are you sure?
You would think
That, where I live, well, I live in Concepts, Monterey, that was all the people who wanted to come back. Not during demolition, anybody.
My understanding of the representative, my understanding, I don't know, my understanding, that who was there, who were the tenants who were displaced by the conditions and the non-vouchers. And a lot of them weren't people anymore, they were non-English speakers with multi-generational families who, like they're, I think in general, understanding what was going on was, I think, much more limited. And I fear it's a community that is now lost and won't know. If you step around town, I mean, it's a different, it was a different, it was different the population, I mean, I know people at Serena. I mean, she agrees. You know, but it's the difference.
Like this lady, no, and like what I'm saying is, I have people that.
Were they there at demolition?
Miss Emma.
Were they there at demolition?
They were at in the thousands and no one.
Not even. No,
Sure. It got so bad in the 2000s. It got so bad. And the drug administration. I would go touch the worst ever. I touched somebody's wall while I was sleeping. I touched somebody's wall and said, "I'm wet skates and bag." And my hand went through. I busted a hole into the next person's apartment. I was like, "I'm so sorry." So the people who were there,
Well, now,
so where are you gonna find them? Yes, those are the people. They got Section 8 vouchers. You put it last year. Lost you could be back in South, no. No, it's definitely, yeah, thank you. So that's also. So.
oh, I love it, I love it. You know, I always feel like
Yeah, that's true.
Colleagues. You ready? a discussion with the developers, probably should be talking now.
Okay, I'll email it.
I'm excited.
I wish it were. I wish it
Don. Donald Hayden. Donald Hayden. Don.
Done.
Don. So you have it, she said. Monday, 12:54.
I'll look back,
Yeah.
because I printed off, I didn't get. I
It's the
missed
second one, yes, this one.
Okay.
They ready? Okay, so we're gonna reconvene. And so we close the public portion of this meeting, and I will ask if the alders have a question. I know Alder Furlow had, yeah, discussion. We started that process, and didn't you, didn't we already vote on that or to? Okay, so, any questions? Is there a motion? Alder Furlow?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I move the item.
Second.
It has been moved in second. Questions? Discussions? Alder Furlow?
Madam Vice Chair, I move that we amend this item by substitution.
Second.
It has been moved in second. Discussion? Alder Furlow?
Madam Vice Chair, I would direct colleagues to see the small two-page package that is in front of you. This has been, the whereas or the recitals have been amended. And we still have the wrong title. So I need to change this title also.
So finish with your amendment and then do another amendment. Did you do that?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay. So finish with your amendment.
Well, we need to vote on receiving this by substitution first, right?
You,
So
so,
we haven't voted on that.
okay.
I'm gonna,
Alder Michelle?
thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I'm gonna speak in favor of this substitute amendment. This was prepared by our staff, Ms. D, who saw some formatting issues with the resolution as it was submitted to the Board of Alders. It's not a substantive change at all. It just cleans up some of the recitals and the whereas clauses and makes sure that it follows the typical form that we observe when we're doing zoning amendments. And so I think it's appropriate to do that. It doesn't change the content at all. And I encourage colleagues to vote yes on the motion to amend by substitution. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain. The document is back as amended. Furlow?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I move to amend the title.
Second.
It has been moved in second. Discussion.
Thank you.
Alder Furlow?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I move to amend the title as follows. Zoning ordinance text and map amendment of the New Haven Board of Alders to reclassify certain properties from the PDD 15 zone to the transit-oriented community zone, semicolon, to allow residential uses in the transit-oriented community district, semicolon, oh no, zone, I'm sorry, zone, transit-oriented community zone, semicolon, and to amend section 42, comma, table 3, parentheses, open parentheses, use table, close parentheses, comma, to implement the Union Square Choice Neighborhoods Transformation Plan.
Alderman.
I'm speaking in favor of this amendment of the item as it is amended. I think the title as it is cleaned up by this proposed revision makes it clearer, and I encourage colleagues to vote yes in support of this amendment. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, the ayes have it. We're back to the item as amended. Any, discussion? Alderman Marshall?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I want to speak in favor of this item with one reservation. I think the overall vision is really positive and really good. I think we have a tremendous interest in seeing a successful redevelopment of this area. And I think a zoning change would be very appropriate. The people proposing this amendment talked about the TOC zone and why it was a good fit for this area. In general, I agree. We're looking at a denser development. We're looking at a mix of types that would be allowed within that TOC zone framework. And so I think there's much to be commended here. I will just say that I do want to get the information from the applicants and from the city staff or whoever could provide it that would address my concerns about amending the text of this zone in such a way as to make it no longer required to have a special permit to develop residential uses in the parcels that are immediately adjacent to the rail yard. That could be addressed by other things, and I would just like to know more specifically what those other things are and how they address it. But at this time, I'm reluctant to change the text so that a special permit would no longer be required for residential use in that particular part of the TOC zone, the existing part. So, but at this point, I think overall what's proposed for this area with the newly mapped area is really positive, and I encourage colleagues to vote yes on a favorable recommendation. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. C. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am speaking in favor of this item. There were numerous meetings with community residents, thank you, Majority Leader. I'll start again. I speak in favor of this item. There were, as the alder in the ward where this is taking place, I can say I bear witness for the numerous meetings with community, with residents from Robert T. Wilk and previous Church Street South residents who were at the table looking forward for the day that they can come back, as they called it, home. Obviously, we know there was a destruction in 2018 of this property that was not well taken care of and residents had to leave. But again, I'm speaking in favor. So many people from the public came, and I wish that the opportunity would have been given. The design is on a billboard here, and what you see in the properties, the way they are speaking about the layers and layers of the building, it's going to have walkable paths. We're going to have residents that'll be able to run farmers markets, getting people engaged. So leaving and coming into the city from Union Station, this will be one of the most beautiful jeweled properties that we're going to see, and it's going to help the Hill community ignite us and move around. So thank you, Madam Chair. I am in favor of, in support of this project, and I hope my colleagues support it as well. Thank you.
Alder Marks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. By way of disclosure to my colleagues, in my role as a housing attorney, I had a former relationship with Church Street South tenants and presently do representation of some tenants at Housing Authority and Glendower Buildings. That being said, with no conflict, I fully support this zoning change. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other?
Madam Chair. I'm also in support of this item. And I'm excited because it's a long time due. The changing of the ordinance, or the zoning ordinance, would definitely allow for the opportunity of more community engagement, not only from the Hill, but throughout the entire city, seeing that Union Station is historic and important to everyone, not only in our city, in the greater New Haven and throughout the region. But most important, I also find that there's going to be room and opportunity in those 2,400 units for mixed dwellings, affordable housing, and people that lived in the Church Street South apartments. Many of them are going to be able to return there. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Alder Beardo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm also speaking in support. Thank you all for the thoughtful presentation and all the hard work, and good luck for March 9th. I'm really excited and I hope everything goes smoothly. It is a logical and positive zoning change in my mind, and it will help facilitate so many of the wonderful things about this project. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments? And I will also say that I am in support of this project. I'm very excited to see, something such as great as this come to that area. My grandmother lived in Robert T. Wolf in the 70s and 80s, and so in 2026 to see the same building look the same way, that says a lot. And so to be able to come out the train station and see this beautiful complex that's very welcoming, I think that's a plus for New Haven. And so I am in support of this project. And so with that, any other questions, comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Abstain. The ayes have it. Alder Furlow?
Madam Vice Chair, I move we adjourn.
Second. It has been moved and second that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, opposed, abstain. The ayes have it. We're done. Thank you.